The Nickelodeon Slimecast Podcast is brought to you by the reopened Nickelodeon Studios in Orlando, Florida Facebook page, and is produced by Patricia Miranda from oldschoollane.blogspot.com.
Nickelodeon, your TV network. Nickelodeon, the place for kids. Nickelodeon.
Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new episode of the Nickelodeon Slimecast Podcast. I am Patricia and I'm here with Edmund James.
Here.
So today we're going to be catching up on some news reports that have been going on over the past couple of weeks. So the first thing we're going to be talking about is some pictures that Butch Hartman has been posting for quite a while. The first one that he posted was, how would the Danny Phantom characters look 10 years from now? And I have to say that they look really, really cool.
Same here. I usually don't really bother well with characters aging because I like them to stay the same age, but I'm looking forward to this if this happens, and the Hey Arnold Jungle movie as well, which will also age up the characters.
Yeah, but at least they're aging up the characters to like 1 year as opposed to the drawings that Butch did in which it ages it up to 10.
Or all grown up.
Yeah, and all grown up as well. But he was just drawing these because he just wanted to showcase on what these characters would look like, in his opinion. There's no mention of a Danny Phantom revival or TV movie or anything like that, so we don't know anything for sure. Also, the other picture that he posted was a little bit more recently, in which he was drawing his characters alongside with other recent cartoon characters, like he was drawing like what would Dipper Pines look like in the Fairly OddParents animation? What would Jake and Finn look like in the animation of the Fairly OddParents? It looked pretty interesting, actually.
I agree. And it got a lot of attention as well, because some people have even said that they'd like to do, Butch to do episodes of those shows in his style.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Jimmy Timmy...
I honestly think that it would actually pretty much work well, but unfortunately Butch Hartman is under contract with Nickelodeon, so he can't work on other shows.
Yeah, that's a shame. But yeah, I mean, if the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour can showcase on these characters can look in the Fairly OddParents style and do it in an interesting way, yeah, I think that seeing something like Gravity Falls and Adventure Time with its style of animation of the Fairly OddParents could work out pretty well too. Anyway, so moving on to the next news, and this is one that when we first were talking about this, we couldn't even believe it. So, apparently, there's going to be another acquired cartoon coming in from Australia. And this is basically, and you're not going to believe this, people, this is going to be a cartoon that is based off of Gwen Stefani's band.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I have to be honest, I'm not a big fan of Gwen Stefani, and the fact that it's made by her pretty much puts me off it. I'm not saying that I'm not a fan of her as a person, I'm not a fan of her music. Yeah,
the show is called Cuckoo Harajuku, and it's supposed to be, let me just read what the Variety article says. Cuckoo Harajuku follows Love, Angel, Music, Baby, and their inspirational leader G as they form the super talented band HJ5. Thanks to their manager Rudy, angry aliens, no fun politicians, hungry monster pets, and other obstacles, every gig is interrupted and the girls never get to compete in a concert. But G and her friends never give up.
I hate those types of shows. They're only made to cash in on popular bands and musicians at the time, whilst not really being based off of originally already established characters. I mean, there might be some exceptions, but I don't consider those cartoons. I just consider those cash-ins.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds pretty much like a next generation Hi Puffy Ami Yumi. You remember that show, James?
Yep. I wonder if Ben the Looney is listening, because he loves that show.
I've never seen the show. I just know about its existence because I remember when Puffy Ami Yumi became a lot more mainstream when they sung the Teen Titans theme song.
That's an exception. I actually liked that show, believe it or not.
No, I like that show too. I'm just saying, like, they became a lot more popular through the American audience. And then after a while, they had their own TV show, which cashed in on more of their popularity. And this is when J-pop and J-rock started taking over the world because there was a lot more Japanese-influenced media coming into America, like anime. So, I mean, I've never seen the show myself. I just remember seeing in the commercials and hearing that theme song. So I don't know what the show is about. I mean, apparently it's supposed to be like an exaggerated version of Ami and Yumi, and they go through their adventures as well. But, I mean, it kind of sounds like that, in which it's based off of a real-life band, and they're going through a whole bunch of crazy adventures. So, yeah, just like
I've seen the artwork, and I'm not a fan.
Well, it's going to be acquired into Nickelodeon around October 3rd, and we'll just see how it goes. I mean, I have no idea how it's going to work out, but yeah, when it comes to Nickelodeon shows co-created by major celebrities, it doesn't really stick into a lot of people's minds. Like, we already had The Mighty Bee that came out like almost a decade ago, and that was co-created by Amy Poehler, and yeah.
That show was actually good. It's a shame that it didn't last long.
I have my disagreements with that show. I found it to be a little bit of a letdown because I like Amy Poehler. I like her comedic styles, especially when she's around Tina Fey. They work amazing together. I mean, there's some good things about it, of course, but I felt that the show could have been better. Anyway, but beside the point. So, yeah, I really don't have anything to say about the show because it's not out yet, and it doesn't really interest me. All right, let's go into the next one. So there have been talks for a long time about Harvey Beaks, and according to what one of the articles was saying, they're saying that it's going to be ending around its second season.
I think that's actually changed because, believe it or not, somebody mentioned it to C.H. Greenblatt on Tumblr, and he has this to say. C.H. Greenblatt said, "Thanks for the Child of Love. We're finishing up season 2, and it'll end with a doozy. There's no definitive plans what happens after that. It's up to the network since they own it and can do whatever they want with it. The only say I have in the matter is whether or not I'm a part of any more that are made. Remember, animated shows don't get cancelled. They just don't get picked up for more until they do."
Okay, so right now it's currently up in the air of whether we're going to be getting a season 3.
Did you cut my stammers and whatnot?
Yes, I already cut it.
No, like my stammers and pauses and stuff.
I already cut it.
Thanks.
All right, so I was always saying before, so it's currently up in the air right now if we're even getting a season 3.
Yeah, I hope it does. It's a great show that I feel is being overlooked in favour of The Loud House. I'm not saying Loud House is a bad show. It's a great show. It's pretty much what Nickelodeon needed in a while. But Harvey Beaks was groundbreaking for Nick at a time where they were really struggling.
Do you think it'll be considered to be like the Phineas and Ferb of Nickelodeon?
It seems to me that Loud House is actually already taking that place, seeing as people are calling it a godsend to the network, like people did with Phineas and Ferb back in 2009, 2010, because it didn't become popular immediately when it aired.
Right now, since Harvey Beaks is gaining a bit of a following from fans, maybe at some point we'll be able to get a season 3, or maybe down the road, maybe we'll be able to get more viewers to seeing the show. And yes, Harvey Beaks is a great show. So is The Loud House, and so is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And I'm hoping that we can get a lot more viewers on all those shows. But we'll just have to see what happens for Harvey Beaks. All right, let's go over to the next bit of announcement, and we have some TV movies that were confirmed to be announced. So the first one is based off of a book called The Escape of Mr. Lemoncello. Now, I've never read the book, so I have no idea about what the plot is. Have you ever read the book?
I can't say I have, actually.
All right.
I've heard about it.
Oh, you have heard about it. Well, I've never heard about it. So let me just read what it's about. Okay. And this is from the Deadline.com article. World-renowned game maker Luigi Lemoncello has built his latest creation, a state-of-the-art library filled with whimsical and eccentric rooms where hardcover books fly kids to shelves in the sky and massive doors open into fantastical worlds. Kyle Keeley, Lemoncello's biggest fan, is chosen to be one of the first to experience the fun, alongside with his best friend Akimi, a bookworm named Sierra, a goofball named Peckleman, his rival Chiltington, and others. The kids must use their minds to complete riddles and collect clues that lead them out of this unique playground of imagination. When excitement turns into jeopardy, this world of wonder begins to spiral out of control as literary characters run amok and chaos ensues. It's up to the kids to make everything right again, or else they won't be the ones escaping. This sounds pretty interesting.
I agree, and I actually think it could actually help Nickelodeon in the TV movie market. What I think they're doing is actually trying to get people prepared for the upcoming TV movies of Hey Arnold, Rocko's Modern Life by making TV movies of their own based on other adaptations in order to, grease them up for the new movies so it will become profitable for them.
Yeah, and, Nickelodeon has tried itself to try to market, book adaptations, but for the most part, they never really went anywhere. We already talked about in Nick's Missile 3 about when Nickelodeon had the rights to a series of unfortunate events, and then they only made one movie when they could have made a whole bunch of others, but due to mixed reviews, they never made another one again. And, they've also adapted other, books into properties, like there was Angus Thongs and Perfect Snogging, and the very few times in which they adapted comic books or books into TV shows, like Salute Your Shorts or Cat Scratch and Animorphs, they were a bit of a mixed bag, but for the most part, yeah, Nickelodeon tends to rely on creating original content, but that's good that they're trying to do one based off of apparently a popular children's book, but which I've never heard of before reading the article, so this should be pretty interesting. Unfortunately, the second movie that is going to be coming out is not really interesting. They're going to be making a sequel to Rufus.
Why?
Alright, so, yes, it's going to be featuring in 2017, and, oh boy, I've heard about Rufus, and I heard not good things about it.
Yeah, me too. Nickelodeon doesn't really do good with a lot of their live-action TV movies, and I think that's one area in which they're really struggling. Whilst they've improved on their animation, they have a long way to go with their live action.
Yeah, that is true. To be quite honest, Nickelodeon, when it comes to their live action, they've always been a bit of a mixed bag. Like, I've already mentioned this before, but in the late 90s, if your name wasn't Dan Schneider, Mike Tomlin, or Brian Robbins, your live action shows sucked. And then around the 2000s, Dan Schneider pretty much took over the live action shows. Scott Fellows also did create Ned's Declassified, but yeah, let's just say for the most part, shows like Taina and Caitlin's Way were pretty much overlooked, and none of the others seem to have really mattered. I know, nobody really talks too much about, like, what was it? Like the Naked Brothers Band or True Jackson VP compared to iCarly or Drake and Josh. So, yeah, really, not really much to say about the next Rufus movie. So, let's see if there's any others that I need to look up. This is one that I did hear about for quite a while because when I had Will McRobb on my podcast last year, he was actually telling me about this one. It is another Christmas special that's coming out. It's a TV movie called Albert, and it's Nickelodeon's first original animated TV movie. It's the story of a tiny Douglas fir tree named Albert who loves Christmas more than anyone, but whose miniature size has kept him inside the plant nursery year after year. Joined by his two best friends, a loving palm tree and a rambunctious weed, Albert treks across the country to live his dream of becoming the world's famous Christmas tree. So yeah, I did hear about Will McRobb telling me about that they were going to be doing this TV movie. So now it's officially been announced, and this kind of reminds me a little bit of Percy the Puny Poinsettia, in which he's a small little poinsettia plant who is inside of who's basically inside of his store, because if they would have just kept him wetter, he would have been a houseplant, but he's all shriveled up and he wants to be taken home. So now there's like this cool little adventure in which they're going to be in which he's going to be the best Christmas tree, and this sounds pretty interesting.
I agree. Nickelodeon hasn't really been doing well with their TV movies, and I think that it would shape it up a lot.
I guess the next bit of news that has been talked about is that there was a huge animation press conference in Ottawa, Canada, and they featured in the creators of Pinky Malinky and The Loud House, and they were doing like this huge conference about discussing about their upcoming animated shows. And it's really nice to see that they're branching out into more conferences and conventions, especially in multiple places, and that Nickelodeon Animation Studio is willing to pick up more interns so that they can be able to show them what kind of jobs that they are planning to have in the future for the up-and-coming animators. And, you know, especially with their YouTube channel, they're always posting new content, they're always showcasing about, you know, celebrations of the shows of the past. There's a Nickelodeon Animations podcast in which they're inviting a new special guest every single week. But right now, at the time of this recording, they're taking a bit of a break for season 2. And the most recent podcast they have was that they interviewed the voice actors of the sisters of the Loud House. You know, like Jessie DeChico and Greta Lyle Griffin and so on and so forth, which was actually a pretty good episode. Have you listened to the podcast yet?
I thought it was amazing, and just to listen to what the creators had to say about their shows. I think my favourites would have to be the ones with Arlene Klasky and Jonan Vasquez.
Yeah, those were really good episodes.
Yeah, and it was nice to see, and it was nice to not only see Arlene give credit to pretty much everybody that works on Rugrats, which is always nice for creators to do. But it was also nice to see her talk about the inspiration for Rugrats and Jonan's inspirations for Zim.
Yeah, those were really cool. And, you know, some of my favorites, I love the one with Billy West. Jim Jenkins did a really amazing...
I love the one with Billy West as well.
He was great, as always.
I was watching that a few months ago, and I just love it when he breaks into character.
Yeah, especially when he does his Ren and Stimpy voice around the same time. It's great.
You idiot! That's my impression of those,
yeah,
right?
That's a good, yeah. Will you shut up, you fool? I shall kill you. Yeah, he always does that line. It's so great. He even did that one in the Slime book event. I'm not even joking. So,
really?
Okay, so here's what happens. So, when they were bringing up the Doug crew over to the stage, and Billy West was talking about, like, doing Ren and Stimpy, he was talking about, he did the lines, and he's like, you know, hey, Ren, will you button me? And then he said that line that I just said earlier. And I'm not even joking. I mean, the whole place was sold out. So there were 900 people. Every single one of them cheered and applauded. It was so great.
He just seems like such a really nice guy, in my opinion.
Yeah. I unfortunately never got to meet him at the book event because he was gone by the time that the show was over. I mean, he probably went somewhere else, but we couldn't find him. But yeah, I'm not even joking. Every single person wanted to meet up with Billy West as soon as the show was over. And they were just searching for him everywhere. It's like, where's Billy West? Where's Billy West?
I'm not surprised. He's a really talented voice actor and one of my inspirations.
Yeah, he's great. I'm hoping to have him as a guest someday, but he's so busy with everything. The recent podcast that he did with Charlie Adler and Rob Paulson in his own podcast is so hilarious. It's an amazing podcast if you haven't listened.
Ickis and Stimpy.
Yes, Ickis, Stimpy, and Pinky from Pinky and the Brain to join us.
I've got some news.
Oh, okay.
Apparently, Hey Arnold merchandise is going to coincide with the Jungle movie.
Oh, okay. Like what kind?
T-shirts and whatnot.
Okay.
Craig Bartlett posted it on his Instagram.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I've been seeing a lot of the pictures that Craig Bartlett has been posting up on the Hey Arnold Jungle movie. A lot of the drawings and storyboards and stuff like that. And yeah, that's cool that he's going to be getting some new merchandise. In fact, just recently, I had purchased a Hey Arnold bobblehead from Hey Arnold the movie. And I was just looking it up on eBay, and apparently it's currently worth $75 because it was really rare.
Wow, I hope that they do something like that for the Jungle movie. Isn't it ironic that the movie meant for TV ended up going to theaters, and the one meant for theaters is going to TV.
Yeah, it's incredibly ironic. But hey, I mean, we already mentioned this in our Hey Arnold Jungle Movie podcast, but we're really glad that we're getting this.
Me too. Let this be the thrilling conclusion to our childhood.
Yes, I definitely agree. All right, well, that's a great way to end this off. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of news this week, but please leave us a comment down below if there's anything that you want us to cover that we missed out on. Tune in next time, as we're actually going to be talking about Hey Arnold in honor of his 20th anniversary, and we have some special guests coming in to talk about it. So we hope to see you around soon, and thanks for listening.
We will see you soon.
Aren't you glad
You watching,
Nick?
aren't you glad? You watching, you watching, you watching Nick.